You just told us a great story. Tell it again.
So it's pretty early in my career, early mid-2000s, and I get the call that DMX is coming in to do a vocal session. I get to the session, there's these two young kids who are the producers, the track producers, and they have the beat on a 2-track. Still in those days, in many cases, people were, a lot of beats were still coming out of MPCs and stuff like that. But most, professional situations, there was a multi-track, right? So I'm assuming somewhere there's a multi-track that exists of this. And these guys just have a 2-track for ease and speed. I get the 2-track loaded into Pro Tools. I can tell pretty quickly that it's not locked to the grid, so it's probably when it was transferred in from whatever sequencer, it was not locked to MIDI beat clock or to SMPTE, and because it's not lining to the grid. They had a bunch of edits they wanted to do, and they were just really weird edits, and I had to slide stuff kind of around to make it work. At one point, I think the verse was like 12 bars, which was weird. Like, it was just weird. It was a lot of weird edits. And the whole time, I'm just thinking to myself, nobody's going to be able to figure this edit out. Like, if they're not in the room, like, whoever is going to mix this is going to be mad because it's not going to line up with their multi-track that I'm assuming exists somewhere. And, like, I'm going to get an angry call from a mixer saying, well, how did you do this edit? Like, why didn't you do it to the multi-track? So the day kind of continues on, and these guys is clearly like a big deal for them. I don't think they had worked with them before, and they're very nervous and very excitable. And then they start saying, well, we don't know if he's going to come. He's sick. He's got a cold, a sore throat or something. We're not sure if he's going to come. We're not sure if he's going to come. Then all of a sudden, this guy appears who I'm assuming maybe it was his tour manager. I don't know. And he's like, where's he at? And they're like, well, he's sick. He's sick. He doesn't feel well. And then the other guy says, I think we should have bought him a remote control car. We should got him a gift and made him feel better. And his manager, tour manager, whoever is like, no. You're treating him like a cat. You don't treat a dog like a cat. You treat a dog like a dog. I'm going to go get him. And he leaves. And then like 20 minutes later, the front door rings. And we had these two little security monitors mounted in the wall between the mains. And I just see a line of like 30 guys come in. And the next thing they know, they're all in the control room. And about the capacity of the control room at CRC, which was a big control room, was about 30 guys. And DMX goes out into the booth, and somebody yells, record. I hit record. DMX starts going, and then I realize that my compressor and my mic pre are behind me in the credenza, and there's about 4 or 5 people between me and my mic pre, and I can just see the meter of the LA2A completely pinned. And almost immediately as we start recording, 6 people in the room are all yelling at me, and they're all telling me to do different things. One person's telling me to stop, one person's telling me not to stop. The guy who's producing is looking at me like he's very upset with me, and I don't know what to do, so I kind of picked one of the 6 people to listen to. And when he said stop, I stopped. And when he said roll, I rolled. They were like, new track, let's go, new track. I think the whole actual time in the booth was maybe 15, 20 minutes. He did like 6 tracks, all kinds of different ad-libs at the beginning. And again, I could not reach the mic pre or the compressor, so it was what it was. And they got done. He came in the control room with a giant bottle of Alizé, sat in my chair. They turned the speakers all the way up, and then all of a sudden he pulled out a knife and was just jamming out, listening, and spinning around in a circle with his knife. And because the quarters were so tight, I was standing up, and every time he spun around, I just kind of had to move a little bit so I didn't get stuck by the end of his knife. And then almost as quickly as they appeared, they all left. And I was just kind of sitting there by myself in shock, and I was like, well, this isn't going to go well. I know somebody's going to call and yell at me because although the vocals sounded kind of cool, they were a little distorted, and I'm figuring that nobody on earth is going to be able to recreate these crazy edits that we did to make this in a multi-track, and that either the song was going to get scrapped or they were just going to redo it some other time, or I was going to get a call from an angry mixer. None of those things happened, and then I kind of forgot about it altogether. And then a few months later, I was literally channel surfing at home and stumbled on Law and Order, and DMX was on the episode, and he was in the booth doing the song that we recorded, which is Where the Hood At. And I was like, this sounds awfully familiar. And I was like, they must have redone it. And so I quick went over to iTunes and I listened, and sure enough, it was my 20-minute rough mix. I just panned 4 of the tracks, left and right, 2 up the middle, and all the ad libs were just bouncing around like crazy. And it was my 20-minute rough mix on the album.
And as you know, the music industry goes, how'd the credit situation turn out?
No credits.
Recording?
No.
Well, that's an awesome story. Thank you for telling us.